Good morning. All right, so I didn't post last month. I actually filmed the video, but it was just like whatever, so I didn't post it. But I'm currently getting ready to go to New Orleans. So if you watched my EDC video, I mentioned that we got like triple charged for this New Orleans trip. Yeah, so that company actually ended up going bankrupt last month and the event was canceled, but now we can't get in touch with them, so we're probably not going to get refunds. And I disputed all the charges with my bank, but those were denied, so now I'm just out like $600. And yeah, so that sucks. But some of us already had our plane tickets booked for this trip, so we're gonna go to New Orleans anyways. We just won't have any of the emo night stuff, but we're gonna go and just explore the town. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah, I'm really sad that everyone won't be there and that the trip had to get canceled, but not emo night's fault. It is Pollen Events' fault. So fuck Pollen. And yeah, it sucks because a lot of people are out a lot of money, including the hotels and the experiences and artists and everything. So they really screwed a lot of people over. So I'm flying out tomorrow, and today I need to pack. I need to clean. I'm currently doing laundry. All my stuff is charging, so I'm gonna have a busy day of getting ready today, and then later I have to drop Poppy off at her hotel, and I'm really sad. I'm gonna miss her. This is gonna be her longest stint away from me. I'm gonna pick her up on Sunday. It's currently Tuesday. She's been doing so much better, and yeah, that's about it. Her new favorite spot is on my bathroom rug. I'm gonna miss you. Yeah, I'm gonna miss you. You're gonna be such a good girl though. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Look at these floppy ears. I love you. I love you. From New Orleans last night, and it was quite a trip. We landed Wednesday night and dropped our stuff off and went and got some dinner, and then we met up with some friends who were also supposed to be there for emo night. We kind of just like wandered around. We went to Frenchman Street to listen to some jazz. Just lay it down. That was pretty much it for day one. Then day two, we did some of the more spooky stuff. So we went to the St. Louis Cemetery, which is where Nick Cage has his pyramid tomb built, and Marie Laveau, who is a voodoo priestess, or was a voodoo priestess, is also buried there. They're owned by the Catholic Church. So when you go, they have like certain rules, like you can't touch the tombstones or like stand on like any of the areas because everything's really delicate. So there's like a lot of cracking and tombs that are kind of falling apart. You're also not supposed to take any video, which I mean, I totally didn't do because I would never break the rules. We also found out that the tour guides have to follow a script, and you know, the history that they tell is pretty whitewashed. So I think definitely just taking some of the local tours and talking to the locals there, you'll get like a better sense of the actual history. They had to close off the cemetery, so you can only go if you have a book tour, because people were vandalizing the tombstones, especially Marie Laveau's, because there's like a superstition that if you mark on her grave and you leave an offering and you make a wish, that it'll come true. So then after, we went to the Voodoo Museum, and they had a lot of information about different sorts of traditions and rituals and things like that that they did. And then we went to get lunch at the Vampire Cafe. We actually ended up at the Vampire Cafe a few times. They have lunch, brunch. They also have these little like blood bags that you can take with you, filled with drinks. And that was really fun. It's a cool atmosphere. And after that, we went to the Museum of Death, which I don't really know how I feel about, because it's definitely a fine line between like being educational and also glorifying murders and things like that. So I think a few things definitely crossed the line. It was interesting to like read about the certain parts, but then there was also like a lot of like crime scene photography, autopsy photos. There was like a murder theater where they were like playing videos of crime scenes and stuff like that. So a lot of like the photos and videos were definitely super gory and a lot to handle. So I preferred like the more like educational stuff. Like, here's an embalming table, here's like autopsy tools and stuff like that. I thought that stuff was cool. But also like they had like a gift shop, and in the gift shop they had shirts kind of like glorifying the serial killers, like a Jeffrey Dahmer apron. They had like a pin of Elizabeth Short, who's the Black Dahlia, and it was like her body in like two halves, which is pretty disgusting. So I don't know, I definitely wouldn't go again, just because I don't support like that sort of thing. But for what it was interesting. So then we ended up getting dinner and walking around Bourbon Street, which is just, it is a whole lot. It's like it's like kind of like Vegas, but it's like more wild, I would say, than Vegas. It's kind of like a free-for-all, and it's like just very overstimulating. There's so much music, and there's bar next to bar next to bar, and it's a lot. A lot of places have a cover charge, and in addition to a cover charge, there are like minimum drink requirements. But we actually ended up at this gay bar, and they were having like a strip off. So like any guys who wanted to could participate in the strip off, and it was basically just a stripping competition, and it got way wilder than I thought it would. But that was a lot of fun. It was hosted by a drag queen, and she was amazing. And yeah, that was a lot. I saw a lot. And then afterwards, we were walking back to our place, which is right on the corner, like across from Bourbon Street. So we were right by like everything. On our way back, we ended up stopping at the Hustler Strip Club. So that was cool. And that was pretty much how we ended our night. Friday, we ended up doing a swamp tour, which I thought was pretty cool because we just don't have swamps and that sort of nature out here, really. And we ended up going about like a half an hour, 45 minutes out of New Orleans into like the swamp area. And we took a boat, and it was funny because people that do the tours, it's like a private swamp area, so it's more of a sanctuary. They don't like kill or eat those gators. The alligators were like following our boat because they knew that we would be feeding them, so that was funny. Our tour guide was giving them marshmallows because apparently they like marshmallows, which is really cute. We also saw like a whole pack of raccoons that we fed, and there was also some wild boar. I don't know if they're actually boar or hogs or pigs, but they were huge. So we saw this as well, and we got to hold a little baby gator and learn all about them. And then we headed back, and then we went to the Preservation Hall, which is like a historic, it's like 60 years old now. It's a jazz hall, and we heard the all-star jazz band. And once you're in there, it's like a really small room and there's no AC and you're not allowed to take photos or videos during the performance. And it was interesting. I've realized on this trip that I'm not really a huge fan of jazz. It all sounds the same to me. The show was like 45 minutes and it was just cool to be in such like a historic area. After that, we didn't really do anything. We were supposed to go to a burlesque show, but we looked up the bar it was at and it was like super sketchy looking. And then we were also supposed to go to a speakeasy, but our friends went and said it was like kind of whatever, not like super worth it. So we ended up just going back to our place and getting some food. And then we met up with our friends afterwards just so we could say bye and get some food with them as well. And while we were eating, literally across the street, someone got shot. So that was interesting. We heard shots like popping off and then there was like ambulances and police cars and everything. And last time I checked, the person survived. They were just injured. That was a little crazy. And then also on our first night at our place, I was so tired and like getting ready to go to bed, and the fire alarm went off, so we had to evacuate. And then the firemen had to come and like shut off the fire alarm. But our place was really cool. We stayed at a Sonder location, which I guess is kind of like an Airbnb, but more, it's less like, it's not individuals that own it, it's like a company that owns it. So it was pretty much like a condo building. And we had 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. And like I said, it was like right next to Bourbon Street. So that was really convenient. Yeah, it was pretty nice. It was a lot of space. It was nice having our own rooms. And I would use a Sonder location again for other trips. New Orleans is super walkable too. The only time we ever took a Uber was to and from the airport, and then the swamp tour, but they had transportation included. So they just picked us up in the New Orleans area. Oh, and the beignets. So there's Cafe Beignet and Cafe du Monde, which are like the most famous places to go for beignets. So we did Cafe Beignet one day, which was cool because they also have actual breakfast food. So we were able to get breakfast sandwiches and beignets. And then Cafe du Monde is just coffee and beignets. And Cafe du Monde had a frozen coffee, which was so good. And I preferred the beignets there because they were like crispier and the amount of powdered sugar was just ridiculous, but it was so good. Food-wise, it was really hard for me to eat because a lot of the places are so heavily seafood and like chicken focused. So I was struggling. There weren't really a lot of vegetarian options unless you just wanted to get a salad, which I mean wasn't really enough because we ended up walking like a total of 25 miles through our whole trip. Yeah, that was like the hardest part for me was food. I did try alligator. I had like a teeny tiny bite just because I've never had it before, and it tastes like chicken if you were to have like washed your chicken in salt water like in the ocean. That's kind of what it tastes like. And I also got a little tattoo. He's like a little voodoo doll. It's cute. But I am happy to get back. I have to go pick up Poppy. I'm excited to go get her. So that'll be it for now. Super bummed everyone couldn't make it and the trip didn't go as originally planned, but we still had a really great time. And I think up next is When We Were Young Fest in Vegas, which is the end of this month. So we'll see how that goes, but I will see y'all then. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and that's it.